If your mind won't shut off, you keep repeating thoughts over and over again, or you feel stuck in anxiety, depression, and trauma, stay tuned because I am going to give you a free therapeutic tool. All right. Journaling. Now, don't tune out. Don't tune out if you're like, oh, I tried that already, because you can be real creative with journaling. So it is journal time. Let's go. Grab your notes, grab your coffee or tea. I like to journal on my phone. Some of my clients like to journal using voice notes, or they record themselves and act like they're having a conversation with me. Hey, Jenny, this is what happened. This is how my day went, and so forth. You can also dance, journal that way through movement, express your thoughts and feelings. So one size does not fit all. Kind of find where you fit in, where you fit in. And so let's keep it rolling. Now, journaling is key. You can freestyle and flow with it, or you can use journal prompts. I like to recommend prompts, especially if you're new to journaling, because you might say, well, I kind of don't really know where to start. Well, I am going to give you 6 therapy CBT prompts. CBT stands for cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a fancy way of saying our thoughts affects our emotions, and those emotions affects our behaviors, right? What comes out of our mouths and our actions. But if we can reverse engineer it, it starts with our thoughts, right? And this is why it's so important to journal. So let's go to the prompt, shall we? Prompt number 1. What happened? So think about your day in chronological order. This happened, that happened, and so forth. As you think about your week, you're just pretty much documenting all the things that occurred. Pretty simple, right? Let's go to prompt number 2. How do I feel? Going back to our inner child, right? The emoji chart from kindergarten. Many times when I ask adults how they feel, they tell me their thoughts. They intellectualize it. I'm like, no, 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 no. We are going back to feelings. Why? Because in order to heal, you have to tap into your emotions. There's no going around that. And so often we're so busy grinding, we are running from ourselves. And so it's important to acknowledge those feelings, even feelings that perhaps you weren't allowed to share growing up. All right, let's go to prompt number 3. What are my inner thoughts? We think thousands of thoughts to ourselves each day, and many times we're not aware of it. And so I want you to document those thoughts. All right, many times those thoughts are like tabs that are open on our computer. And I don't know about you, if you have too many tabs open, guess what? You're going to lag. You're going to lag. So it's important to acknowledge our thoughts and to put it in a container so we're not overthinking on repeat. All right. And so let's go into prompt number 4. This is a hard one. This is where the mental push-ups come in, guys. You want to ask yourself, is there any evidence to support these thoughts? And when I say evidence, evidence that can be used in a court of law. Did I get a screenshot? Did I get an email? Did I actually hear this person say this? Why is this key? Because many times our thoughts are based on past fears, or we're future forecasting. We're going to catastrophic thinking and thinking, what if this happened? What if that happened? Right? And so asking yourself that question, thank you for the likes, will help you to stay in the present. And that is huge. That is huge. Thank you for joining, Ruben, because many times when it comes to mental health, too many of us are stuck in the past with regrets. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I could have done that differently. We're stuck in unforgiveness. Sometimes we haven't forgiven ourselves and others, right? And that is where depression lies. Or we're future forecasting, worried about tomorrow, next week, next year. That's anxiety, right? Many people are not in the present. They're not living in the present. And this is why there's that disconnect. And so journaling is going to help you to do that. Now, of course, we have to ask ourselves the opposite question, right? So prompt number 5, is there any evidence to contradict these thoughts? Thank you, San, for joining. Is there any evidence to contradict these thoughts? All right. And then finally, you want to ask yourself, all right, what did I learn from journaling? Sometimes you might say, I didn't really learn anything, but it did help, right? So I'm going to give you an example of a journal entry using these 6 prompts. So 1, what happened? I gave a presentation and I missed a couple of slides. 2, how do I feel? I'm frustrated. 3, what are my inner thoughts? I'm wondering how my colleagues are going to view me. Are they going to view me as incompetent, right? I'm really feeling low at this point. And if I keep letting those thoughts go and replay, it's really going to affect my mood in a negative way. But let's go into prompt number 4. Is there any evidence to support these thoughts? Well, yeah, I actually did miss a couple of slides, right? We're not going to lie to ourselves. We're not going to be in delusion. I did miss a couple of slides. I did mess up my presentation. However, prompt number 5, is there any evidence to contradict these thoughts? Well, perhaps I'm not inadequate because I did have a performance review where I did very well last month and I got a raise. Do you see how prompts number 4 and 5 helps level out the playing field? It really helps you to step back of your situation and have a bird's eye view, because too often we have tunnel vision. I don't know about you, but I'm originally from New York. So once you get in the Lincoln Tunnel, listen, there's no way out. You cannot make a U-turn. You have to ride it out. And sometimes where we're in a situation, we have that tunnel vision. We can't see the forest from the trees. And so these 6 journal prompts will help you to reset, kind of like snap out of it, okay? Because the way our brain works is that it's almost like a train that's on a track. Okay, so if I'm taking an A train, the A train has a certain route. When we are triggered, whether our anxiety is triggered, our past trauma, our emotions are flared up, we take a certain route with our brain. Now, these prompts, if you practice them consistently, I would say twice a week, it will help you to rewire your brain. That's the beauty of it. So instead of just react to your triggers, it's going to slow down your response time. Okay, so try to view these prompts as breakers. We're trying to derail that train so you can envision a new way of responding, a new way of seeing yourself and the world around you. This is how change happens. And I always tell my clients the power of any tool, how often you use that tool when you don't need it. So even if you're having a great day, you can still journal. You can do a gratitude journal so that journaling is not associated with a, negative day or activity. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. And so if you missed the journal prompts, you can always watch the replay. And so also on my channel, I do have a free PDF tool for you. If you are struggling with healing from a toxic relationship, you want to go ahead and grab that. Okay. That is my gift for you. I do appreciate you tuning in. I also have a Facebook support group. And so I will place that in the description somewhere because community matters, guys. We try to live life alone and be like an island, but it's not healthy. And I'm always the first to say, as a therapist, I have a therapist, okay? We all got issues. Some of us try to hide it or look like, we look like we got it all together. But I promise you that everyone is struggling with something. Being a human being these days is really challenging, but I do believe that in the right community, if you have the tools and you use the tools consistently, it will help. And so give it a try. If you're new to journaling, try it twice a week. Like I said, you can journal on your phone. And I promise you, in about 6 to 8 weeks, you should notice a shift. All right. And so if you are going to give it a try, go ahead and comment, said, I'm going to give it a try. And every now and then I do journal time on my lives. You can tune in and say, hey, it's working, or maybe, hey, this is not working for me. And that's okay, because guess what? One size don't fit all. It's like a tool in a toolbox, right? If I have a home and I need to make a repair, I'm not always going to use the hammer, right? If I do that, I'm going to destroy my house. Sometimes I got to pull out the wrench. I got to pull out the screwdriver. And so sometimes you got to kind of figure out what tool works for you. But this one is an effective one for many. All right. And so I hope that you enjoyed this live, and make sure to tune in for the next one. As always, much love.